I will go ahead and bring you the presentation today. And again, this presentation is about two things. I bring you updates on the situation of the interrogations of our president, His Excellency Sisiku Julius Ayugtabe, and the French invading, France invading our territory, fighting against us. Fellow Ambazonians, good evening. Today, June 28, French Cameroon military prosecutors meeting in Yaoundé barred the lawyers hired by the interim government of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia to defend His Excellency Sisiku Julius Ayugtabe and 9 others from sitting in their interrogations, which started on Monday, June the 25th. Sisiku Julius Ayugtabe, president of the interim government of Ambazonia, you will remember, plus 9 others, were abducted in Nigeria, January 5th this year. 1 month after the abduction, they were smuggled into Cameroon overnight and have been held incommunicado for 7 months as I speak. The military tribunal in Yaoundé started interrogating the Ambazonian leaders in preparation for the trial in which they are being charged with terrorism and other crimes amounting to the death penalty. Despite the fact that the military authorities handling the interrogation, the detainees have lawyers ready to defend them. The French Cameroon court would not as much as notify the lawyers of the process. Instead, French Cameroon military court chose to appoint its own lawyers to sit in the interrogation for the detainees. Some of the lawyers chosen by some of the detainees to represent them were sent back on account that they were too political. The interim government wishes to remind La République du Cameroon that everything involving this case, from the abductions in Nigeria, their transfer to French Cameroon, their incarceration, to the current sham interrogations, has been illegal and a breach of international law. We warn that every French Cameroon official, from the civilian authorities to the military authorities involved in this blatant illegality, shall face the wrath of the International Court of Justice when this is all over. The interim government of Ambazonia reminds French Cameroon authorities that international legal norms forbid the interrogation of civilians in military courts, and that defense lawyers are supposed to be present at these interrogations that continue in the absence of legitimate defense lawyers for our leaders are clear evidence that the French Cameroon military tribunal is applying duress to extract confessions from Sisiku and all the other detainees. Once more, it is the position of the interim government of Ambazonia that Yaoundé courts have no jurisdiction over the case of abduction, over the case of the abduction of our leaders, the leaders of Ambazonia. We have learned that in one of the interrogation sessions, Sisiku was asked by the interrogators to tell them where he was born. Sisiku responded that He was born in Iwele, in a Umojok subdivision in Ambazonia, not in Cameroon, but in Ambazonia. Sisiku was essentially telling his interrogators that he is not a Cameroonian, and so a Cameroon court has no jurisdiction over him or to try him, and of course, others too. The southern Cameroon's Ambazonia has no act of union with French Cameroon. Ambazonia is an independent country with clear marked out boundaries, a people and a culture. This, we will sing it again and again and again until Yaoundé realizes that it is fighting a lost fight. The so-called interrogations going on in Yaoundé are a sham. They are a fraud and of no consequences. We demand that French Cameroon authorities immediately and unconditionally release our president, his cabinet, and all others abducted in Nigeria and illegally transported to Cameroon. The likes of Mancho BBC, Penn Terence, among others, must also be released. So far, we have fought this war only within our territory. But if Yaoundé will not unconditionally release Sisiku and others, this war will cross over the Mongol. We are now capable of taking the war into their territory. We will never, ever negotiate or beg for the release of Sisiku and others. This interim government also continues to question Yaoundé of the whereabouts of the 37 refugees or detainees and the 8 others abducted in Taraba State in Nigeria and in Calabar in Nigeria, respectively. Going forward, Yaoundé is put on notice. Peace will elude you until all these detainees regain their freedom and the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia regains complete sovereignty, its independence. There isn't any other option. On the French sending their troops to Cameroon, to Ambazonia, fellow Ambazonians. Not too long ago, French ambassador in the colonial capital Yaoundé denied profusely that French forces are nowhere to be found near Cameroon or intervening in this conflict. He denied that not even French military experts are in Cameroon, where we now have evidence that French combat troops are actually fighting alongside French Cameroon troops in our territory, in our country. Witnesses have seen them in Bello, in the northern zone, and the Boya, Ekona, Moyoka area in the southern zone. When they are not engaged in shooting innocent unarmed civilians, they are seen walking the streets with trained German Shepherd dogs to hunt down our people. One thing is clear. The French have never learned from the carnage and humanitarian disaster they perpetuated in Rwanda, in Ivory Coast, and the rest of other French Africa where they have been involved. The French are reminded that when you come to the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, our case is different. That Republic of Cameroon brought in soldiers from Chad, from Central African Republic, and now they have brought in soldiers from France to exterminate all of us. There are French drones all over Ambazonia as I speak. They are mapping out areas they plan to destroy with bombs. As I talk to you now, whole communities in Mbonge have been asked to vacate so that the French military can lead a bombardment of the area. They are also mapping out all of Faco, that is Boya, Victoria, Moya, Ekona, Moyoka, to do the same. Agents have also been sent to Libialem to map out Libialem where they can go and bomb the areas. We have been second-class citizens for 57 years. They rape us of our institutions, of our resources, our heritage. They left us with no roads, no hospitals, no schools, no courts, and yet we didn't declare war. They did. Fellow Ambazonians, we must all, I mean all, men and women included, defend ourselves in our territory now or never from the enemy called France. Every Ambazonian youth from Faco to Ndonga Mantung must now answer the call to service. Service to defend and save Ambazonia from France. 90% of dictatorships and conflicts in Africa are caused by the French. But you know what? Ambazonia refuses to be part of that statistics. Every French national, be it military or non-military, spotted in Ambazonia must be considered a very dangerous enemy. Every French establishment, anything that has to do with French in our country, Ambazonia, has to be brought down and disseminated. Every French business in our territory, including all their petrol stations, Total, brasseries, banks, construction companies like Razer, telephone companies like Orange, and the rest should be shut down from this day. They must go. No tanker carrying petrol should get through Tico Douala Road. Sonora should be completely and hastily shut down. Look out for anything French in Ambazonia and do not hesitate and do not spare it. Do not spare it. Francophones still living in our territory, those who have refused to leave, should be reminded that we have no security for them. And landlords in Ambazonia still hosting French Cameroon administrators should be made to pay. It is war against anything French in our territory. For the record, the interim government has reached out diplomatically to the French government again and again since this conflict started, and has proposed their neutrality, in which turn we will protect their interests in our territory. But the French have not as much as penned a simple acknowledgement note to the interim government. In the absence of their cooperation, we are left with no choice but to face them whatever way they come. We will use the caves, we will use the hills, the trees, and the mountains, plus to finish with them once and for all. France is put on notice from this day that they will no longer have a farm or plantation that is southern Cameroon's Ambazonia as they have had for 57 years. France will never be allowed to dictate to Ambazonians the form of state Ambazonia becomes. Fellow Ambazonians, I am speaking in reference to this other diabolic plot by the criminal and dictator of French Cameroon, Paul Biya, to destroy the geographical entity that is known as the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. News has reached us that the country of France has instructed its proxy, Paul Biya, to do something unthinkable in their bid to foster upon us their own form of federalism. France has instructed Paul Biya to attach the Southwest to the littoral and the Northwest to the Western region. By this diabolic plot, they hope to completely extinguish, wipe out our existence as a nation and as a people. Again, Ambazonians, please hear me well. We have learned that France has instructed Paul Biya to absorb the entire southern Cameroons completely into French Cameroon by making the Southwest part of the littoral and the Northwest part of the Western region. Did you hear that? By this devilish plan, they hope to succeed in stealing our land, our territory, and our population. We will no longer exist as a people should they succeed. We do not want to wait until Paul Biya signed this into a decree before we inform you. But let me assure you, Ambazonia shall never be absorbed into that foreign country called French Cameroon. If Biya were to obey those French instructions, the attempt to absorb Ambazonia into La République du Cameroon will be a new cancer that will rapidly destroy and kill that accursed country before it knows it. La République du Cameroon will be forced to vomit Ambazonia out before it is completely destroyed from within. The French instructions are dead even before Biya signs them into law. Every Ambazonian, man, woman, and child, wherever you may be, is by this announcement called upon to join the struggle for the freedom of our country. When we call on Ambazonians, we include the Prime Minister of the foreign country of La République du Cameroon, who happens to be an Ambazonian. We also include all Ambazonians serving in La République du Cameroon's armed forces. All Ambazonian civil servant is exempted. And I also want to add that these Ambazonians serving in the civil service of La République du Cameroon, who have been made to contribute millions of CFA francs that will be used in fighting and killing and destroying our land. I can assure you that when the moment comes, whatever amount you have paid, you have given to La République du Cameroon Treasury to use in killing Ambazonians, you will double that amount to pay to the government of Ambazonia. That is coming. If you cannot leave now, if you cannot desert now, if you cannot walk away from the regime in La République now, I am assuring you, the moment will come. If you give them 2 million, if you give them 4 million, that money will be doubled and paid to this government of Ambazonia. And that moment is coming. It is not going to be long. It is coming really, really soon, because Boya is right out there. It's right there. These are extraordinary times, and extraordinary measures are necessary. Never before have we seen this level of cruelty, the level of fraud, swindle, and falsehood as we see from leaders of French Cameroon. They are evil and corrupt to the bone. They know that Ambazonia is not a part of their country, and it has never been, and it will never, ever be. Yet, having all become children of Lucifer, they labor in vain to steal what is not theirs, to deprive Ambazonians of their only space of existence on earth. It shall not be. It cannot be. The people of Ambazonia reject La République du Cameroon with everything in their blood. We shall have nothing to do with this criminal and evil country, a country that lives on lies, fraud, and theft. This is the moment for every Ambazonian, even those who are dead, to be resurrected to join the mother of all armies and all battles for our freedom and our survival. And let me say this, the French and their dictator Paul Biya have been emboldened to try this madness because of the silence of people like John Frundi. The chiefs and the so-called elite in Biya's atrocities against our people. By the failure of Southern Cameroonians MPs sitting in their parliament to walk out despite the daily insults and humiliation they suffer in that place. How did they manage to poison your mind, sirs? What have they given you in that God-forsaken and utterly insane country? What did you eat there that makes you so deaf, dumb, blind, and insensitive to the suffering of your own people in their greatest hour of need? Mr. Frundi, and all of you out there, so-called elites and chiefs, wake up, sir. Please, wake up. Join this struggle to free your people. Do not be like Solomon Tandeng Mona and John Gulfuncher. Do not wait until your dying bed before you regret your failure to act. Wake up now, sirs. It's time for you, fellow Ambazonians. Times have changed. This information makes it even more urgent for every French Cameroon citizen in the southern Cameroons to leave our territory. Every public office should be shut down. Every administrator from French Cameroon, their teachers, their magistrates, and so on must be thrown out with immediate effect. All the major roads in the southern Cameroons that make supplies to La République du Cameroon, they should be shut down. Those roads, Tico Douala, should be shut down. The major roads should be shut down and render that country. They live on us. They live on the produce that comes from our territory. They live on the oil that comes from our territory. They live from the food, the produce that comes from our territory. They live on the timber that comes from our territory. Everything that flies or dries from our territory to La République du Cameroon should be shut down using the roads. Every Amazonian should join the battle in whatever small way that they can. No effort is too small at this time. Save the fatherland. Save Ambazonia. Show your courage. Show your intelligence. Show your service to Ambazonia now. As for our brave and courageous fighters, we honor and bow down to you for your sacrifices and Herculean bravery. You make us proud, and we all count on you to continue defending the fatherland until victory. And do not worry about help and support. Again, do not worry about help and support. You will have much more than you need. If we all join hands, we shall be in Boya very soon. Stay strong. Look out for one another. Do not harass your own people. And do not take from anyone that which doesn't belong to you. Look out for the enemies within you and pluck them out. May God bless our efforts May the evil plans of the enemy never see the light of day. May their schemes against our people be thwarted. May Baal be caught in his own traps. May the hand that is stretched to touch our land be cut off. Thank you for listening today. Please spread this news. We will live free we must live free until we see victory in the horizon. Again, thanks for tuning in today, and I appreciate it. Take the news out there to every Ambazonian. We must resist everything French. The French are our problems. If the French were not there, here we have nobody to boast with, to do what? To carry out the carnage that they carry out in our land today. So please, it's a new day in this battle. It's a new day in this war, and a new front, and that front is the French. We must get rid of everything French in Ambazonia. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. And good evening and good night to all of you there in Amber land.